Hi, I'm going to give you a very basic quick tutorial on how to essentially manipulate images and how to anchor them into the canvas. And so first of all, I started out with a blank canvas and just changed the color background to charcoal black here. And then I actually uploaded this image here by selecting Image and then choosing File and uploading. Responsive Ads supports JPEGs, GIFs, and PNGs for images. So you can have an animated GIF that you can actually upload. Once the image was uploaded, as you can see here, it is actually anchored to the top left of the actual canvas. And the position is 6.41% in the X and 6.81 in the Y from the overall canvas. So the position is relative to the canvas, and as you can see, the percentage is 40.6% of the overall width of the canvas and 31.9% of the overall height. The default setting is in percentage because of the fluid design nature, but you can actually go in and click on this and change that to absolute pixels. You can do that. The other issue is that, as you can see here, the image is actually floating in a container that you can actually lock or unlock proportionally. Right now, if I lock it proportionally, it just locks exactly as the image that was actually uploaded, and as you can see, I can actually stretch it in proportionally. The lock size is actually, the height is locked, and then the width is actually changeable, as you can see. So it's locked proportionally to a 31.5% width. And I can actually change that by flipping it. And so now the height is proportional to the width that's locked. So the reason that this is very valuable is, as you can see, as I actually move the slider, it will shift and change in that direction. Now if I move it in this way, because it was locked, it's not going to change. It's locked to that original size for that layout. And so I'm just going to flip it back. And so that's a very useful feature when you want to lay out from size to size. The other thing is we have the contain, cover, or fill, which actually basically sets up how that image is actually in its container. So if I unlock it, as you can see, it's contained, so I can actually even make this container much bigger, and as you can see, the image does not skew. It just is contained in that container. Now if I change it to fill, now it will stretch to fill that container, as you can see. And then if I do cover, it will cover that container to fit the dimension. So it's fitting the height dimension and then covering it in that way. And as you can see, it's center covered, so it's covered as center. This is very useful for when you use images as a background image that you just want it always to cover the canvas. So it's very valuable. So I'm going to put it back to contain, which is the default. And then you can actually justify the images, so you can have that contained and then have that on the left hand side, as you can see. So it actually grew because of the height. Let me shrink that down a little bit. So you can have it left justified. You can actually also have it at the top. So there you go. So as I shrink this and move it to the top. So this is very valuable when you're actually laying out. So if I put this at the top and I move this down like this, and then I could shrink it. So there we go. So now is if I move this up, as you can see, the image does not change until it hits a certain point, and then it changes. So this is very valuable when we talk about laying out in the different directions. You could do the same thing here, or you can actually do the same thing where you actually make it like this, so that if you're transitioning to the left, it stays to a certain size until it hits that, and then it shrinks up into the corner that you want it. So that's a little bit about the imaging, handling, and contain. Let me show you then anchoring. So anchoring is just the ability to put it in different places in the overall canvas. So if I put it in the center, or I can anchor it to the top right, or I can anchor it to the bottom right, horizontally at the bottom so it moves up and down like this, or even horizontally at the top. And then also the corners. So depending on how you anchor it, when it actually transitions, it will actually move towards that anchor in that transition. So there's a quick tutorial on anchoring and images. If you have any questions, send them to support@responsiveads.com, and have a nice day.